audible? Okay, okay, perfect. I was just confused. Cool. I think I will start with thanking everybody, like the Postgres Women India community, then also Open Source DB, and I also see PG Hyderabad who is supporting the event. So thanks to them for organizing this event, and also to all of you for being such patient listeners. It's not audible? It is? Okay. I know I was in college not very long back, and when such events happen, especially in this hour of the day, is when even I tend to fall sleepy. So I'll try to keep it short. This also the content that I have was a bit tailored to how you can actually use the DevRel tactics for your company, but now I see that a lot of you are in college, so maybe I'll change it a bit to what DevRel is, and maybe if this is a career that you can choose. So that's the kind of thing that I'll move forward. Also, I did not graduate very long back, maybe 5 to 6 years back. So whatever you all are going through right now is also very relevant to me. So at any point of time, if you feel that you have any questions, feel free to stop and ask, or you can also ask me outside in case you are shy and don't want to do that on stage. So today we'll talk about that how developers are decision makers now. I know a lot of previously, not very long back, the decision makers used to be only people like in executive level or senior managers and all, but now every time a software is bought or anything, a subscription is taken, developers' decisions are also weighed in, and this is where people like me who work in a profession called developer advocacy, we come in and we play an important role. Before I go into the details, let me do a quick introduction of myself. Hi, I am Haimantika Mitra and I work at DigitalOcean as a senior developer advocate, and I have experience in front end, and I also build a lot with AI. Anybody here who knows about CloudBot or heard about Maltbot, CloudBot, especially if you are active on X and LinkedIn? Anybody? Okay, so this is your task for today. Go home and learn what's going on in the AI part, especially with CloudBot, and so you know. So I'll give you an example of what CloudBot is. You're not able to hear. Okay, you're able to hear now. Great. So anybody, I'll repeat the question. Anybody who knows what CloudBot is? CloudBot, CLAWDBOT. Nobody? Okay. This is your homework for, okay, I see one hand. But for those who don't, this is your homework for today. Go home. I am guessing all of you are on LinkedIn, and maybe make an account on X or Twitter as well, because that is where I stay updated with most of the information that's coming up. Every day I open X, that's a social media platform, but I use it as a news platform. And the reason why I say it's relevant, because even for us who are working in the domain, it's so hard to keep up with all the recent technologies. So please do that, because I'll give an example of what CloudBot is. Like, I can text this bot, which is using AI and a lot of things in the background. I can text it on WhatsApp or on Telegram, and I can tell that, hey, can you order food for me on Swiggy, and it can do that using MCP. So it's a lot of new technologies that's coming up, and I feel that's relevant with you, and will also help you whenever you're going in interviews and stuff like that. On that note, so I also work a lot with AI, and I am also a Microsoft MVP for web development. Plus, I recently also started doing my master's from Georgia Tech, and that's around ML and AI itself. So, so I'm working, plus also I'm studying, so I know how it feels to be a student all over again. But moving forward to what, or let's say what is the pattern that we should see today. I told about CloudBot, and I know that coding has changed how it used to be even, let's say, 2 years back. We used to write code by hand, we had to learn all the syntaxes even though there was Stack Overflow. How many of you know what Stack Overflow is? I feel like a dinosaur right now because I mentioned Stack Overflow. Okay, I see a few hands, but yeah, back in the days we had to code and we had to just copy and paste. Most of the time the solutions did not work, sometimes it did, because we did not have autocomplete back then. So now what's happening is coding is becoming easy, but a lot of the tech that we use, or let's say that people are becoming more tech savvy, or there's a growth in the number of tech products or SaaS tools, which means that even if you can code, or anybody who can write English well can code to some extent, they won't be able to understand the deeper complexities or how systems work. And that is where developers keep aside all the views that you see will always stay and be relevant, provided that you're also ramping up on the new technologies and the, the different things that are coming up. So every company, be it fashion, be it retail or anything that you see today, is using tech to some extent or the other. Like medicine, everywhere there is tech. Surgeries happen through robots now. So developers or technical people will stay and remain in demand. And even with AI, so now because there is tech in every form of a company, or let's say in every layer of a company or a business decision, that's why developers' views are being weighed in a lot. That I talked about the second and the first point. And also the third point is that I gave you an example about CloudBot, because this is what is trending. So now people, or us as developers, we are looking forward to tools that I can connect to anything random. Like in the future, I would actually like AI to do my laundry or cook for me. That's in the near, I don't know, distant future maybe. But because I saw how it went from us copying from Stack Overflow to letting AI solve some bugs for us, to doing it on our IDE, to actually doing it like on a terminal. So the more things are evolving, the more we as end users, we want our platforms to be all tied together and it to be integrated to as many things that we use today. Like let's say I have tens of emails that are unread and I want them to be labeled under some category. So I can just ask an AI agent to do that for me. So that's how more and more tools are being tied together, and you need to be some amount of technical to actually do that, and which is why your value or your opinion as a developer stays. And whenever, especially in a company overview, whenever there is a decision to be made, if you go and tell your leadership that, hey, this is what we are seeing and this is how it can help us, backed by data and by your opinions and other research pointers, there is a chance that, let's say there is a very high chance that the leadership will actually take that in and bring in some changes based on that. So now moving forward to what does DevRel do. This is a role that I joined maybe 1.5 years or so after I did college. And be honest, how many of you likes coding, like just coding? Can you put your hands up? 2 people. 3, okay, very few hands. What does the rest of you like? Do you like to talk? Do you like to design? Does anybody want to volunteer and say what do you like to do? Do you want to do marketing, sales, anything? Anybody who wants to volunteer and say? Okay, so I'll take the thing on me and I'll say it. So I love tech. I have been coding since I was in school, because part of it I studied in ICSE school. But I also loved talking to people, and I also liked doing events like this, or I liked the people part of just living life. And I wanted to do a job where I am having fun doing, or let's say I wanted to be in a job where I'm having fun and I'm waking up every Monday with the feeling that, okay, this is what excites me. And that is when I had come to know about this role called DevRel or Developer Advocacy. It mostly, not mostly, but let's say it only exists in product-based companies. But there are also very adjacent roles. Like we heard about solution engineering, so that is also an adjacent role. People also move to product management, or people just move to plain software engineering. So this is a role that sits between engineering, product management, and even to some extent to solutions. And what we do is we cover 3 C's. The first one is called code. Of course, we need to write code. So the interview process that we go through is what any software engineer will go through, just that we are not asked DSA questions as much, but system design will be asked, and any other questions that software engineers get asked will be asked. And the coding that we do, since I was talking about CloudBot, so we had a big release yesterday from DigitalOcean, and me and another person from our team was like majorly involved in doing that. So whenever there is something new, a part of my job is also to stay relevant and to stay updated with whatever new is coming up, and to see if we can integrate that with our product, be it maybe building an SDK or building an API or just building a sample application on top of that. So that's the, let's say, coding part that we do. And why do we do that? Because we are developers ourselves, and we want to talk to other developers and say that, hey, this is what you do. You don't have to leave your comfort zone to let's say, to use our product, because we have an experience that is meant just for you. So that's the coding part. And then we have the content part of things as well. So whenever you are using a software tool, how do you learn how to use it? Documentation? How many of you still use documentation? Can I see a raise of hands? Cool. How many of you watch YouTube videos or tutorials? How many of you refer to code on GitHub that's there to take reference? I see a few hands. So all of these things, let's say any product that you use, be it Twilio, Stripe, or any developer product that you have used so far, Superbase or anything, name it, and all the content that you see is being written by people like me who are called developer advocates or DevRel, because we walk and talk the language, because we are developers ourselves, we walk and talk the language that you speak, and we know how developers can use our product, which is a SaaS in some way or the other. Then third part is we have communities. So a part of our job also involves going to events like this or conferences, and then telling developers that, hey, this is what you are doing, but we can make it easier, let's say, or we can say that we can make it cheaper, or we have, or this is open source and this is free, you can do it with this example. So that is like what a person as a DevRel does. And at any point of time, if you feel that this role is something that aligns with you, maybe you can look up some job openings in it. In India, it's still a niche, but in San Francisco, it's like the hottest job out there. Whenever you go to any conference and if you say that you have an experience in it, there's a high chance that some like cool AI company comes up to you and tries to hire you. But I'm not trying to sell the idea of going into this role. Do your background check, learn more about this role, and only then move in, because it's a lot of context switching and not something that everybody enjoys. Moving forward is developers do not like marketing, since how many of you here maybe code every day, or you call yourself developers? Can I see another raise of hands? Nobody? Okay, I see a few hands. And is anybody here from the marketing background? I'm sorry if I offended you. Any marketing folks? Okay, one or two folks I see, but yeah, no offense to you. But in general, so let's say how it really works is, whenever there is a product, a tech product, and when you see a person who does not have much relevance to it or background knowledge to it comes and talks to you about that product, you won't relate as a developer, and end of the day you'll be like, okay, this is not something that aligns to me. But when a person who is equally sound as you and goes in and talks to you about your problems and then says that we have a solution and talks in terms of code and not any flashy language, that is when it aligns with you or relates to you, and that is what DevRel helps in. Sorry. Oops. Okay. And that is what DevRel helps in. And now we'll also talk about what is making developers decision makers these days. So Hari and Shri, they talked about cloud and hybrid, and then they also talked about on-prem. So a lot of companies are moving to cloud, or they have this SaaS, or which is also called software as a service model. And for that, you need technical people or people who understand how systems work to help you make the transition or build things on top of it. So a big chunk of what companies does today, even the simplest companies that you know about, has tech. Like there's a fancy fashion company that my sister works at, but she works in the tech sector. So every company that you can think of has a tech sector, and they are using all the terms that you heard about today in some way or the other, which is why developers or tech people are important in this generation, and their importance again will keep increasing, because with AI there is more and more need of people who actually understands how things work under the hood. And that also relates to the technical complexity part, because even with AI, though coding is easy, but systems are becoming more complex. We also heard about security breaches. So we really need to think about how we can make our systems better and safer and secure. So there's also added technical complexity that comes with it. And even Bhavani talked about it, that a lot of the things that we do now has to do with thinking. We need to think about how to build applications, the architecture part of things, and so on and so forth. So technical complexity increases, which means engineers generalist engineers will be the need of the hour. And then we also have product-led growth, or let's say bottom-up influence. So these are kind of related. So when how many of you here knows about products like Lovable or Superbase? I see a few hands. And whenever, so how did you know about this product? Because maybe you saw people that is easy to build. So end of the day, it all ties down to how this product thought of how they can make a developer's life easier or solve the pain point that developers go through. And this particular thing, and then maybe one of you really loved using it, and then you told your other friend that, hey, I built this website using Lovable in 5 minutes. Even the last quiz app was probably vibe coded. I don't want to say it was vibe coded, but yeah, probably using one of those AI tools. And then you probably said that, okay, this is really cool. I built it in like within 5 minutes. And that's how the word of mouth works. And that is how these products, they start making money, or then eventually they enter into the enterprise section of things and they become popular. And a part of that kudos also goes to people like us who is working behind the scenes to make the developer experience really better, or let's say we work on examples or then building content that relates to you, so that you can go to other people or and say that this is really cool, and then the adoption starts. So this is what in general developer relations people do, and this is how, even though the role is a niche, is shaping the next generation of how SaaS products or software tools will look like. Moving forward, so this is, I try to take a reference from the SWOT analysis, but then I try to move it a little bit towards the DevRel part of things. So how do we help? First thing is speed to market. I talked about Cursor and Lovable, and they almost became instantly famous because somebody in the tech domain found that it was easy for them to build a website which would previously take them maybe a week or so. So, and that was there because the product was built that way that could relate to developers. So, and even DevRel, like maybe there are DevRel team members that's building applications and content that relates to them. So the speed to market, the process becomes much faster, especially in an environment like this where a lot of audience is technical. Then we have working DX. DX means developer experience. So our patience level is very short right now, especially after scrolling reels and shorts, and we don't have a patience more than 10 to 30 seconds. So the moment I still remember because I don't know how many of you here, because I feel like a dinosaur, knows about Android Studio. So starting Android Studio would take a lot of time, but now like we had to wait for an application to start, and the time that it took to start an application is equal to the time that vibe coding apps like Lovable, then there's Bolt and so many other apps takes to build an application now. So that's how the developer experience has moved. Now people don't have patience, so like we need to build applications, or we need to have experiences where it takes minutes or seconds for people to actually build a working prototype. And this is also what gives me the why I liked front end, is because it gave me the eureka moment. I would type something and then I would instantly see that on the browser. So the eureka moment is something which is what all the companies in the world are trying to nail, so that the developer experience is smooth. And that's also something that our role helps in, and end of the day this also helps in improving the developer mindshare. And then we have organic adoption. I talked about the word of mouth, that maybe one of you just randomly found a tool that helps you do something, and then you told your other friend, and they told the other friend, and that's how word of mouth works, not only in colleges but also in offices. And this has also worked in DigitalOcean, by the way, like the release I was talking about. We started talking about it, and then the leadership saw that, okay, this is really nice and people are talking about it, so why not build it? And then finally we have trust and credibility. I will tend to trust a person more if they have gone through the same pain points or maybe same journey as me. So whenever there is a developer talking to another person who is a developer, they tend to trust each other more because they have been going through the same things. And in our role, like in simplified way, I like to call myself an extroverted developer, because usually developers do not like to talk as much. So the moment you do that, if you go and talk to people a lot, then maybe you can become something like you can join the role similar as mine called developer advocacy. And in the end, this is a real role, by the way. I'm not making things up. I have been doing this for almost 5.5 years now. And in the end, all of these together is how we also contribute to the business part of things. Like we talked, that the developers being decision makers, also for them to make the decision, for us to be a part of their thinking, is something that our jobs needs to do, or helps companies to grow or be in that part of the developers mindshare. So this is how we as DevRels help. And then this part is something that not much of you, not all of you can relate to, but if anybody here who is starting a company or has a company and wants to build like a DevRel team, maybe you can take a photo of this. But in the end, what we help in doing is everything that I mentioned in the last few slides, that we need to, since I work at DigitalOcean, a part of my work is to make sure that DigitalOcean is easy to use, and not just easy to use. I'll find use cases that other developers are using and then probably make applications based on that, or package it into something and then make it easier for other people to use. Also write articles about it, make videos on it. So this, and then in each company it differs. Like Superbase, the DevRel team does a different kind of job. Like there is one person who only works on the social media part of things. So different companies have different way of leading or doing DevRel, but then this is, let's say, the playbook that a lot of company uses. And if this is only useful if you are trying to build one, or maybe if you want to learn more about DevRel, then also this can help. And with that, I come to the end, and yes, thank you. I think I'm good on with time as well. Are there any